Hello, everybody, and welcome to, I think, our sixth episode of the KalamaZooKeeper. And once again, I'm here with my friend Evan. Took us a good half hour to get set up as usual. Last week we couldn't even get here.
I think we'll have a more permanent setup soon. Yeah, we've been experimenting with our tools here, that's for sure.
So, because it is the KalamaZooKeeper, Kalamazoo, we're going to look at some of the headlines from this week. I haven't seen them yet. I guess they're not terribly exciting, but it is what it is. So, what you got over there?
Well, the Old Peninsula Brew Pub is closing down, Kalamazoo's first brew pub. And I think one of the first places I took someone on a date in Kalamazoo, actually, after 25 years.
25 years. And I mentioned this before we went live, but I'm actually looking right at it. When I sit on my deck or stare out my door window, it's like right across from me. Do you know if something else is going in there?
I think something must be, but I don't believe they describe what's going to happen there.
Do they cite any reasons for it closing down? Do they reference like all these other breweries that popped up? Is it the shutdown from 2020 combination? I would imagine.
I'm going to pull that information right now.
I was there a
I
couple times.
imagine it must have something to do with last year's shutdowns.
Yeah, I would imagine. It does seem like relatively busy sometimes when I look out there. They have the outdoor seating, which isn't necessary right now, but it's a nice option. And have you seen Bates Alley? What they've done with it?
I saw the lighting, I think, the last time I was there, which was quite nice.
Yeah, it's really nice. There's about five or six businesses there. The one that seems to be thriving the most is uh, Randy's Green Top there. That place is always busy in the evenings, people out and about, and he did pretty well, I think, during some of the restricted times as well because of that outside seating he had, and he did the whole tents and furnaces too when it was cold. But they blocked it off so you can't drive through there. They painted it, and it's kind of like a hub of activity. You would think that would have helped the old peninsula a little bit. It's neat too when I sit out there and have a drink and do my cigar. I see kids going up and down with like skateboards and those longboards.
Nice. Do you see anyone in Kalamazoo with those powered longboards?
I don't know that I've seen one.
I saw someone passing a road cyclist the other day, just standing on this longboard with a remote in his hand, controlling the thing.
Really, I've seen people being dragged along by a dog.
Low key summer dog sled.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so 25 years. Not much details here. It looks like
I wonder if they owned the property or if they were leasing or renting. Seems like the places that own the property, such as Strength Beyond and myself, were just way more insulated through all of that than the people that have to pay rent or pay leases. And because of those shutdowns, I'm getting calls frequently from real estate companies that are asking if I'd be interested in leasing some space at like a remarkable discount from what it usually is. And I'd imagine those phone calls are going to keep coming. And I tell them that I know where they're going right away, and I go just to stop you so you don't waste your time. I have zero interest in leasing. If you have something I can purchase, I'd be interested because that's what we do. We're a real estate company, and they get a little bit deflated at that point. They're like, "Well, I mean, we're talking about half of what the normal leases would be." I'm like, "Yeah, I don't care. I don't care if it's a dollar, a dollar a month for the first year. I don't want to lease."
well, what it says here, an excerpt quote from their own post. I think late yesterday. We would love to keep Old Peninsula alive if someone is interested or another tenant is interested in the space. They posted that on their Facebook. Thank you for the memories.
You know what? 25 years, I bet the shutdown maybe a little bit, maybe all these other breweries, but they're probably just old. They probably started when they were 35, 40, 25 years goes by, you're 65, you don't need to anymore. You know that as soon as you give it to your rotten children, they're going to run it into the ground.
Could be, could be. They say the first generation builds it up, and then yep, exactly.
hmm
What else we got here in local news? Got anything off the top of your head?
I remember it's a sad story and I never heard the details, but last week we were going to talk about, I guess, a 6-year-old that was shot, died just a few blocks from here.
Oh,
If you can pull that
yeah, I
up.
see. There have been several shootings. Yeah, I believe a 9-year-old.
The 9-year-old. It's terrible.
Looks like.
Was a boy, right?
Yes, that was at near Lake and James.
From what little I heard, it sounded like it might have been an accident.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's what they say here.
it's awful.
Two versions of what took place. It says. So I guess an ongoing investigation, and that wasn't the only shooting apparently lately. I guess homicides in 2020 were up by some 25% nationally over
Doesn't surprise me.
2019.
I would not be surprised if it's by design. As you may remember, I have a condo in Chicago that my father left me, and Chicago
Mm.
had 100 shootings last weekend. That sounds like
Just on the weekend, yep.
yeah, just it sounds like somewhere in the Middle East. I don't know if I was listening to some commentator. I don't know if he was kidding, but he said that the military sends paramedics in there to get trained on how to wrap and save people, before they ship them off to the Middle East. I guess
It
so.
makes sense. I mean,
So
if you have
Chicago's providing our
consistent
military.
gunshot wounds,
Yeah, Chicago's providing our military resource. We want the silver lining.
damn, that's intense. Yeah, if you have consistent gunshot wounds that need to be treated, and people who will probably need to treat gunshot wounds consistently, yeah, that's one of those weird silver linings for sure.
Never let a good
I,
crisis
I
go to
see we
waste.
have a, I oh, Big Brother. Never mind. I'm less interested in this now that I see it's Big Brother. I would have loved, I think, in the past to compete in one of those amazing race type shows, but that's with the caveat that I never actually fully watched one of the shows.
I'm not even sure what you're referencing.
So this headline here, former Kalamazoo man to be on Big Brother, which whatever, honestly. Amazing Race, though, my understanding it was like a kind of maybe worldwide or maybe like a very large area. They probably had like New York City or whatever. Uh, Scavenger hunt kind of a thing with teams, time pressure. It's like a race, right? Sounded fun to me. One of the more fun shows. I cannot do the reality stuff, man.
It's problem solving, or it's an actual race.
Yeah, problem solving in a race. So
Oh,
you gotta figure stuff out, right?
there's something you're probably more aware of it than me. I just came across it a couple of years ago and it looked interesting. There's some kind of system like that set out there where if you solve all these different puzzles and figure this out, and I don't know if anybody's ever done it, but there's a series of codes and clues, some of it on the internet, some of it's actually in physical locations, and they're not sure who set it up or what the end result is if you complete all of it. They suspect that it might be a recruitment tactic for like the CIA or something.
Yeah, I could see that. There was a the band that kind of a thing can be very very interesting, especially when you get a bunch of people focusing on it. There was a marketing program done by the band Nine Inch Nails, back in the 2000s, I think it was, maybe just coming into the 2010s. And they left a USB drive in like the bathroom at a show in Barcelona, and it had some code on it, and it opened the door to this entire alternate universe they had living online with a variety of fake government websites from the future and codes to crack and things like that. So people are piecing together this kind of dystopian future that the upcoming album represented. And that was their promotional um, program for the upcoming album. That was pretty cool.
And this all starts on a bathroom stall.
Yeah. They left a little piece of data there, and someone,
For an interesting time called Nine Inch Nails.
what's that?
For an interesting time called Nine Inch Nails.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I see. Kind of bat around here a little bit. There must be a upcoming march against, yeah, 3 marches against gun violence planned in Kalamazoo this summer.
We'll have to board up our windows, stay inside.
Oh, you know what I can do with our new tool here? That's too bad. There used to be a button I could make that drum sound.
Yeah, we
Now
we have to we have to have that.
this is the best I can do for today.
So if you hear that, one of us just made a joke. Because
Just so you know.
sometimes it's not clearly obvious. Back on the restaurant topic, Food Dance reopened. I went there last week. I think I'm going to go there tomorrow, and they were very busy and it was very nice. Yeah, and it looked like they were thriving. Um, Saw a lot of the old staff. It was nice to get back in there. I liked it because it's a little bit upscale. You can go have a couple drinks and get a meal that's um, like a flavorful and healthy. You know, instead of getting like a cheeseburger, they do it up a little bit. You know, you're paying an extra couple of dollars, but it's just nice having that option. And I certainly hope that they thrive because there's not really anything else like that around here where you can do brunch or breakfast that I'm aware of.
Yeah, I used to I used to live a few blocks away, and I would go there for breakfast quite often. Um, they do a lot of their food sourcing locally too.
Yes, yeah, I was at farm to
So you
table.
get your eggs from 10 miles away. Your beef is from 5 miles away, or whatever, and that was always very nice too. And the guy behind the bar, probably the same guy you saw recently, is professional for sure.
Yeah, they have.
Charismatic guy.
I think you're talking about Lucas. I didn't see him. I was kind of disappointed on him. Yeah, it's
Oh,
Lucas. I don't know
so
if
you know
Lucas.
who I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he knows everybody's name. He's real jovial. Yeah, yeah. Hopefully he's still there. I didn't see him last week.
I think I had gone in there semi regularly, like once or twice every week, only 3 or 4 times, and he already knew
Hmm.
like the usual.
Yep.
I've been
Yeah.
here like 3 times.
Yeah. He's good at his job. It's unfortunately not very common in any profession.
Right. Has there been flooding there, by the way? You know,
A
the
bit.
last time I flew back to Kalamazoo, they were just, I mean, this was a couple of years ago, but they were just pumping out the stadium because it had totally flooded.
There was it got pretty wet. I don't know if it was that bad here. I heard Detroit got very flooded a few weeks ago.
Mm. That's one of the articles here. They got photos of sandbags set up for water control.
I saw an article pop up on my phone, or maybe yeah, I think it popped up on my phone that Miss Whitmer, in her infinite wisdom, is putting something like $25 million into our forest reserves and parks. And yeah, I think that even though that money might be better allocated to fix what she did last year, I still think it's probably a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. This area, anywhere in the Great Lakes, we've got to invest in preserving it.
Hmm. Yeah, Kalamazoo is a pretty neat area because you get a combination of like a cityscape, and within a mile you can hit a trail, a lot like Austin, a lot like where you're at. I'm assuming.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of trails over here. I've long been interested in the Calahaven Trail because you can go all the way out to the beach.
Would you walk it or bicycle it?
That's pretty long. So yeah, bike. But nowadays you can get even one of these electric assist bikes, and you can just cruise along. You can't take a motorcycle or anything on the trail, but you could take a bike with a motor.
Is it asphalted?
No, it's like kind of compacted dirt generally. I think some gravel here, maybe here and there.
You're probably talking about what, 40 to 50 miles, I'm guessing.
Yeah, yeah, somewhere in there. And I think
Bicycle's about
there's
just a regular bicycle. What do you figure, like 8 to 10 miles an hour? So you're looking at 5 to 6 hours.
oh round trip.
No, one way.
Well, let me see. We'll do the math here. I will say while I'm doing this, I think there's an organization in Michigan trying to connect all of these really long trails so that someday you might be able to go from like New Buffalo to South Haven to Kalamazoo all the way over to Detroit on a bike trail, which would be pretty cool. Yeah, so about 40 miles. And then the average bike is going to go, let's say 15,
15.
or recreational riders averaging around 10, 8 miles an hour. So 40 divided by 8, that's not too bad. And then round trip it out.
Sounds like a full
So
day.
yeah, yeah, that's a day ride. What would be really nice, your one of your Southwest Michigan ideal weekends, you could ride out Friday evening or something, catch a sunset, and ride back on Sunday. That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Any news from the gyms while I'm looking for a less boring headline than the local community college happenings?
Yeah, we're opening up or reopening the downtown facility hopefully Monday, and the recreational weed facility that's in there should be opening up middle of next week as well, which I have a partnership in. It's called High Profile, and they really did up the building. They did a really nice job.
Nice.
They're just waiting. I think they're just waiting for one final licensing component from the, I don't know if it's from the city or the state, and they're good to go. They already have their employees there. Got a lot of people working at those places. Like it's not terribly big. It's maybe, how much square feet did I give them? 20, I want to say 2,500 to 2,700 square feet, and they have five, six employees there all the time, and they're not even open yet. And I think they're talking about having an armed security guard. There's cameras all over, and I was talking to one of the managers there yesterday or the day before, and I was noticing all the cameras, and they're concerned about cash and people breaking in, and product being left there overnight. And I said, yeah, I heard that some of these places can do 20,000 cash in a day. And he laughed. He said, one of these locations, there's high profiles all over the state. So one of their locations, I want to say Muskegon, did something like 90 something $1,000 in one day on 420. I'm like, holy cow, I'm in the wrong business.
Yep, that's your big day of the year there.
Yeah,
Wow,
90K. I don't know what that looks
in
like.
Muskegon. And then you have obviously repeat business at the gym already. That's gonna they should give you a special branded product arrangement so you can sell like the runner's high.
Runner's high. That's good. You know who's really happy?
Who's that?
Do you remember who's in there?
And at the gym,
Same
your
building. So
your staff.
well, probably most of them, all of them. But there's on the other side of the gym, I rent out to.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that guy's ecstatic.
I bet he's got
Cheap
the
Chinese
takeout.
food, cheap Chinese takeout right next to a rec weed place. It's like,
Yeah,
can
that's a
you
full service building right there.
can you play "We're in the Money"? Do you have that button?
Next time, that's a good one to have in the bank.
That is a good one because we talk about finances a lot.
Yep.
So that's all
Well,
exciting.
the that EVFM stock, by the way, it went down to 0.95, something like that. It was at 1.19, down to 0.95. Now it's back on the upswing again today.
Yeah, I went to the website and the website looked too woke for me, and I'm like, no, thank you. I'm not investing in that. I think that's not a long sustaining business plan to have purple haired people tell you how much they care. I'll put my money elsewhere.
Well, they've got their market, but yeah, it's where you want to put your money. That's the question. For me, I'm in and out in this case, but a line I read from something totally unrelated from generations ago last night struck me as relevant today with a lot of things, not just the woke folks, but it was something like no organization can long survive with strictly hypocrites at the helm, something like that. And I'm like, there's a lot of talking out both sides of the mouth with public communication nowadays. It's probably always been the case, but wow.
Seems amped up lately.
In good news, the Kalamazoo State Theater is going to have its first quote unquote, I don't know why it's quoted, no restriction performances. And they're opening their doors for these live in person performances. When is that? When is that? Oh, wow. Says they have 20 shows scheduled, but they'll have 35 scheduled by the end of the month to be announced. And they'll do their first in-person indoor performances with no restrictions, August 27th.
That's good news. It's a
Yeah.
stone's throw from here as well. I recently got a bicycle because I need hip surgeries and I can't take long walks anymore. So for the exercise and just to get outside and um, the just the cathartic value of that, I replaced it with a bike for right now. And I wish I would have done that before my hips went bad because it's pretty neat. Gives you a lot more access and you can cover a lot more terrain. But what uh what I was what I found kind of remarkable that I probably would have never noticed walking around because walking around you just stay on the sidewalks, but on my bike I'll go through parking lots is just all of the super expensive real estate right downtown here. And I imagine every city's the same that is allocated for churches. It's like all this high end, pricey real estate um,
Yeah.
with these churches there that I don't attend church, so I wasn't aware of them. And like huge parking lots, huge pretty buildings, tax free, and I have to wonder. It's like, yeah, okay, I understand. I guess I don't know if there's a whole separation of church and state, but it seems like it might be a good idea to give those people their free tax free land or whatever, but don't have it right in an urban district where the property values are rocketing up like that. Just from a tax collection basis, if nothing
Yeah.
else. but opportunity for other businesses,
Yeah,
tax collection. I'm sure I'm probably upsetting a lot of fundamentalists right now. I'm not saying don't do that. Just they don't need super high end real estate like that.
right. No, I think that's a considerable problem for Kalamazoo, if I remember correctly, because it's not just the churches, but also the hospitals there have some property tax benefits, if I'm not mistaken. I think Bronson is it Bronson Methodist technically?
I believe so.
Yeah, I remember reading years and years ago about what share of potential property tax revenue the city has that is precluded by religious institutions.
Yeah, and that Bronson obviously makes money. They can pay taxes.
Yeah,
I'd imagine these churches probably make money too.
yeah. Not not a joke. Just oh, now it's gonna keep looping. Let's
Go
turn
ahead.
that off. There we go.
But dum.
Yeah. Oh, I see. This
Churches should
is
pay
interesting.
taxes. But dum.
This is interesting. So Kalamazoo is soliciting feedback until July 18th to determine how the American Rescue Plan funds from the federal stimulus funding should be used in the city. They have a total of $38 million in stimulus funds, and there's an online survey that residents can complete or a paper copy, or they can call them up at 269-337-8000. Huh.
And that's to be allocated to who?
That's for the city, it sounds like. So it says the 10 areas in the survey are employment assistance, including childcare and training, high speed internet, quality of utilities, environment and natural space, economic and business development, affordable housing, safety and security, diversity, equity, and inclusion, responsible governance, and transportation infrastructure. Oh, almost 38.9 million dollars for the local fiscal recovery funds. Okay. I wonder whatever happened with all that money that came from the Parfit brothers years ago. You remember that?
No, that's not part of the Kalamazoo Promise thing, is it?
No, although I do think they've contributed to that. Um, this was maybe 2018, 2016. See, they keep putting money in. I think these guys have some kind of connection with the old Upjohn before it became Pfizer. I think they have some connection with that. They actually,
Those are connected to the same folks that did the Kalamazoo Promise, aren't they?
I,
Those are
I
former.
think the Kalamazoo Promise still remains anonymous.
There's speculation that it gets back to the pharmaceutical dynasties. I think.
It only makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I go ahead.
I was just going to say in 2019, apparently they pledged to, William Johnson and William Parfit pledged to bail out Kalamazoo if the Kalamazoo City's $500 million fundraiser falls short. Huh. I'm sorry, you were saying?
I ran across some article or statistics that since they did the Kalamazoo Promise, Western's graduation percentages have fallen substantially. which I guess would make sense. And I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing. I guess it looks bad for the analytics of the school, but that doesn't mean that overall there's not a net positive from that.
Mm-hmm. Right. I always was pretty happy that was going on when I lived there, at least just community wise. Okay, so yeah, this guy, he was a founder of MPI Research.
That would make sense.
Gotcha. And served on the board of Stryker and Upjohn. Yeah.
I think what else is going on here with the gyms or
With
nationwide even.
what?
Trying to think of what other topical things are going on here. The gyms are nationwide.
Oh, right, right. Well, Pfizer's local,
Yeah,
sort of.
I've
The
signed I've signed up maybe close to a half dozen folks that have been moved here to work on the vaccine for Pfizer. Um, different positions and levels of management and supervision, whatever they have, different functions. But without exception, every one of them, when I asked if they were going to get the vaccine, it was either a no or a hell no.
oh, damn. Yeah. I wish, you know what would have been interesting? Obviously, this is just spitballing the idea. We had all these stimulus checks, quote unquote, all of these, compared to Canada, it's measly in the US. But it'd be very
So
interesting if,
I'm sorry, I missed that. So Canada was more generous with their stimulus packages.
oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So Canada had the Canadian or Canada Emergency Response Benefit, CERB. And let's see, most, if you've stopped working because of COVID, you cannot have earned more than $1,000 in employment or self-employment income for 14 or more consecutive days. Blah 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 blah. It was $2,000 every. Let me see what it was. But what was it in the U.S.? Like 3 checks for $1,200, I think.
I got two of the three. I don't know why I didn't get the third, and I gave them away. The two that I got.
Yeah.
Um, one was 12. One was the last one was 12, but I think the other two were less,
Hmm.
like eight or six or 1,000, but somewhere in that ballpark. But I'm wondering if I don't know if it was a state thing. It probably was a state thing, but I think the state might have made up for that with that extra $600 a week unemployment, which that's not 600 a week anymore, but that's still going on, and there's still um, servers and waitresses and bartenders that have been collecting for over a year and a half now, um, because that's
Hmm.
ongoing. And I don't think that's a good thing. I think we need to get back to work, get out of your parents'
Yeah.
basements, and turn off Call of Duty, roll
I
up the
know
sleeves.
it's very hard for many people in various industries in the U.S. to find employees right now that are reliable. And if they find them, it's harder to find ones that are reliable, as
Yeah,
always, I suppose.
yeah,
But by
that's always what.
comparison, by comparison, the CERB in Canada was 16, the equivalent of $1,600 US every month
Every month.
uh,
Well, I
from the
mean, if you look
federal.
at, I don't know what your unemployment looked like, but if you look at, the three, I guess, kind of meager in comparison checks that we got, but if you add that 600 a week, it's
Yeah,
I don't know if you guys had the same kind of deal with your unemployment, but it probably is more similar than you think it is.
yeah, I could see that.
Well, my friend, we're about a half hour, 40 minutes. At least we got one in, huh?
Yeah,
I like the sound effects. Is this our parting ways music?
Yeah.
All right.
Until next time, as we fade into the fog.
Goodbye, everybody. Hopefully, we'll figure this out again next week.
Yeah, I think we'll use something let's prepare it on Thursday, maybe.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
I
Then we'll have
want to turn it off. I had a couple other things I wanted to tell you.
Sure. All right. Adios, everyone.